This is Get Sellers Calling You, and I'm Beatty Carmichael. Learn more at our website at getsellerscallingyou.com. Well, hey there, this is Beatty Carmichael with Get Sellers Calling You, and I've got a really exciting training for you today. This is actually a training that I did in front of a number of agents. I was a guest trainer at a paid presentation, paid production, and the topic was performance marketing that drives more listings, okay? And that's really what I want to share with you today. This is going to be an audio training for our podcast listeners, but there is a video that goes along with it. So if you have a chance to actually watch the video, just go to our website at getsellerscallingyou.com and click on this podcast, okay? And just directly underneath the audio, you'll see the video of it. And let me encourage you to watch the video, because you'll probably pick up an extra 30% of understanding of those things that drive more results. Because part of this is I'm showing slides on a PowerPoint presentation, showing examples of different types of marketing and how by adding just a little bit of content or a little bit of verbiage, how it dramatically enhances. Now, everything I'm doing is about postcards, obviously, but you can apply the same training in pretty much any other type of marketing that you do. So I think you'll get a lot out of it. But before I introduce the training, I'd like to have you hear from just one of our customers about Agent Dominator. And then right after that customer, then we'll usher directly into the training. Thanks again for letting me share with you, and sit tight. You're going to enjoy this training, I can promise you. Be blessed.
So I started selling real estate in 2001. This past year has been really great for me. I sold 27 homes for just under 12 million. I actually doubled my production and gross sales. And one of the key things that I did this year is I incorporated Agent Dominator into my toolbox. Growth of the last year was pretty much double what I did the year prior. With Agent Dominator in place, it really sealed the deal. There was very clear, I would say on 80% of my listings were sealed because of Agent Dominator. I have tried just about everything out there. I've done the big box brands of marketing. I've done small mailers that I did myself. And what I like about Agent Dominator is it's pretty streamlined. I don't have to think about it. I can trust that what they send out represents me well. And I've seen the results. With the other things, it's kind of hit and miss. So if you're thinking about Agent Dominator, I would say I found that it's been the most useful and productive thing that I do. And you get the calls. The system works.
Here's the thing. One thing we talked about is we got to know how many leads that we have coming in. I'm going to give you a quick metric here. Lead generation, whether you're, no matter pretty much what lead generation source you're using outside of your SOI, okay, you're going to get experience between a 2 to 5% conversion rate on those leads over the course of 12 to 14 months. So if you want to figure out how many leads that you need coming in, as a general rule, you want to just take your goal and then reverse engineer it. So for example, if I want to hit 25 transactions, I'm going to use a low conversion rate to be safe at 2%, right? I'm going to need about 1,200 to 1,300 new leads a year to achieve that goal. Okay. If I want to do 50 transactions, I'm going to need double that. Now there are assumptions there. The assumptions are I'm showing up every day and I'm following up and I'm prospecting and I'm following up. There's a strong assumption there. But how you take that from 2 to 5% or whatever the percent, how you increase the percentage is actually through automation. So outside of you showing up every day, okay, and doing your follow-up, which is extremely important. The key to that success is implementing an effective automated marketing plan, an automated follow-up plan using multiple channels of marketing. You guys follow me so far? So you follow up and then implementing automation to help with your follow-up is what is going to take you from an average conversion rate to going above and beyond. Now, I just want to quickly talk about the lead gen sources that we recommend in case you haven't taken advantage of them. at each part of your funnel. And then Beatty is going to talk about some strategies that you can use to follow up with those lead sources. Okay, so one of them that we highly recommend is geographical data, okay, or geo data, where you're selecting specific zip codes and you're downloading those leads and putting them into your CRM. And then you're coming up with a follow-up plan, right, to help convert those leads. The next behind that, which we recommend, is ZBuyer. Okay. ZBuyer is, in our opinion, for the dollar cost per average lead, one of the best lead sources out there on the planet for the dollar. Is there better? Yes. But it costs a lot more. So when we recommend ZBuyer, it's not that they don't have their challenges, but the cost per lead versus the ROI, it's extremely high. And then next on the list, which I would consider part of a B and maybe even an A list, is RedX. Okay. And the reason why I consider RedX to be further down the funnel as far as conversion, because who agrees that half of the battle with it when it comes to marketing, follow up, and prospecting is even finding somebody that's ready to sell now? Like, that's kind of sometimes the hard part, right? So if you have a group of people that are already like, oh yeah, I am selling now, and you've eliminated 50% of the battle. I don't want to put a percentage on it, but you've eliminated a lot of the battle. So to not have for sale by owners or expireds in that mix, it's in my opinion, committing a crime, because they're raising their hand, they're ready to go. And no matter what other lead source that we get, besides Google LSA, which I want to put that on the list, besides Google LSA, they've raised their hands. We just got to get good at marketing to them. We just got to get good at developing relationships with them. And that's on us, but it's a great lead source. So, and then obviously, please, in 2022, part of your follow-up plan has to be making sure you're engaging your SOI in as many ways as you possibly can. It's the number one ROI that you'll ever get. Okay. So now that we have our lead sources picked out, I'm excited to introduce our next speaker. And on a scale 1 to 10 on his level of knowledge of marketing, what I call offline marketing combined with online marketing, on a scale 1 to 10, I'd give him probably a 75.
Wait, hold on. Is that it?
He served clients all over the country. He's been in this business for a long time, 15 years or more. And he's had a chance to A/B and test on millions of postcards and retargeting programs and all of the above. And so, Beatty, I'm excited to talk to you about following up with postcards and using multi-channel marketing to increase conversion. So thanks for joining us today.
Yeah, thank you. And I'll let you give me screen control.
Yep.
All right. So how you guys doing? Are y'all getting worn out yet?
Well, they're excited. This is a serious group of beta. This is a serious group of people, Beatty. Every single one of them is paid to be here. So this is a serious group. All right.
They're tired to answer you, Beatty.
Yeah.
All right. I get it. Hopefully with the payment, they give you the recording so you can see my masterful training in just a moment and take more notes.
There you go.
I'm being facetious, but I'm also being quite honest. I'm going to share some stuff with you. We use it in postcards, but what I'm going to share is really the key in effective marketing, not the only way to market, but effective, what I call direct marketing, when you're trying to either get a direct response, to get someone to actually click a button or scan a code, or to get them to shift their perspective. I do want to make one comment, though, that's actually a couple of comments. I love the sign behind Isaiah, and if y'all don't have your screen pulled up to the speaker mode, it says, 1% you must do, 99% won't work or something. It's real small right now for me. I remember not talking with, but at a convention with the keynote speaker was a multi-millionaire. He made a brilliant comment, and ties into what I want to show you. He said, 95% of what you do is just wasted time. 5% will make you wealthy. And what you're looking for are those keys that will help you take your business from where it is now and just drive it up. And my guess is it's not going to be a silver bullet of a product or a service, but it's going to be something that clicks in your mind and how you do something strategically in your business, and everything generates straight to that, and that becomes that laser focus. All these other things are superfluous, but you'll find that 5% that makes you extremely wealthy is going to tie into a number of different services, a small number that help you manage what you're doing, but you get really good in that one area. So with that, I'm going to share my screen and walk you through what we've learned on this. And for many of you, you probably have not heard of me or met me. I do a podcast. If you're a podcast listener, let me encourage you to check out my channel. It's called Get Sellers Calling You. Okay. And it's, I'll be right up front. Half the podcast are 100% marketing to generate listings. The other half, I'm a Christian, and so I teach a little Bible study. You can skip the other half if you don't like it, but the marketing side is really good. So I want to talk about increasing seller leads and listings with postcard marketing. That's what we do. But more than that, the first half of what I want to show you is how to actually do good marketing that really works. I've been doing this professionally for 24 years now, since 2012, and specifically focused in real estate. We've hit a number of milestones that a lot of people just dream of. We've had, in our first year working with realtors, using what I'm going to show you here, we've had a number of people in their very first year earn $100,000 in geographic farming. To put that in perspective, most people will do geographic farming for a year and then a little bit more before they get their first listing. So there's something that we do that is unique, and I want to show that to you because it's just pure marketing. The other thing Isaiah mentioned is your past clients and sphere of influence is your most profitable list. That's not his exact words, but the paraphrase interpretation. We've actually identified this. That if you've ever read Millionaire Real Estate Agent, chapters 1 and 2 talks about your met versus not met for this very specific reason. But all else being equal, your past clients and sphere of influence, those people who have actually met you, are 8 to 10 times more likely to do business with you than someone who's never met you. So as you do anything like a geographic farming or seller's leads list where they have not met you yet, it's real important. You'll hear this in the rest of your course as you go through with Isaiah, as they talk about multi-touch approaches using text and voice and direct to voicemail, and especially my favorite, the video email. When you start to do things that are engaging directly with that prospect, it gives them a chance of getting to meet you, and you'll see your results actually go through the roof percentage-wise with that non-met list of yours. But I want to show you a little bit of what we've done, and just to kind of set the stage, I want you to understand that what I'm going to share with you is proven, and I want to see if I can back it up. If any of y'all have ever done anything with geographic farming, you know how hard it is to get business in a geo farm. And especially if you're out west. The further west you go, the harder it is. So this is just one of our clients, and just outside of Los Angeles, targeting a home of farm of 1,500 homes. Said by our second mailing, we've already listed 3 homes and have 6 more listings coming on the market. By the second mailing. At the end of the first year, earned right at $99,000 with us, directly from us. By the end of 18 months, they went from basically less than 1% market share to 22% market share in their farm, outselling the number 2 agent by over 7 times. Have I caught your attention yet? Let me show you another one. Over in Georgia, Scott, they started working with us within 2 to 3 months. They'd already closed or at least listed under contract, $3 million in sales and had another $3 to $5 million in inventory coming in. So what's going on is an understanding of marketing and how to apply it. I want to give you some background. A lot of times we look at marketing and we go, well, postcard is expensive and email is free, and I can get a lot of digital ads really easy and really quick. But that's the cost per impression, or cost per what I also call initial impression. The question is, how long does that impression last? Generally speaking, if you look at digital ads, maybe 3 to 5 seconds. Email marketing, 30 to 45 seconds. But postal mail, upwards of 17 days, a much more significant shelf life. And the predecessor to much of what you see today with world-class leaders in marketing is this guy named Gary Halbert. Some of his students, you may recognize these names: Dan Kennedy, Dane Jackson, Craig Proctor. Both Dean and Craig are in the real estate world field with me. If you're not familiar with Craig Proctor, if you've ever heard, I'll sell your house or I'll buy it. Well, that's what he created that. And myself included with this group. And what was interesting is he did a test to determine how effective is snail mail versus electronic mail. So he took his customer purchase list and he sent out a sales letter, and he sent half of his list an email and the other half a snail mail. Now, the snail mail cost a lot more to do. You got to print, you got to postage, you got to do all kinds of stuff. The email was absolutely free. But the conversion response rate, how many of those people purchased? He had 20 times increased purchased through the snail mail versus the email. And this has to do with this thing right here, the shelf life, okay? Email, digital, they're going to move right off. It's great for an impression. It's great to try to catch an immediate response if you're good, if you hit them right the right time. But if you want something that persuades, you will get much more out of it through the snail mail. And this is what's going on. There's a concept in marketing known as positioning. Positioning, if you've read the book Millionaire Real Estate Agent, Gary brands it as mindshare dominant. It's the same thing. It comes from the book called Positioning, written in the mid-1980s. And the idea is, how effective are you at getting your name at the top of your prospect's mind? I want you guys to do a quick exercise for me, okay? I want you to, real quickly, open up your chat, and I want you to think of toothpaste brands. And I want you to type in the toothpaste brands that come to mind, however many come to mind. Give me all the brands that come to mind, and let's just see what you're thinking of. All right, so those that have come through so far, and more are still coming, it looks like probably almost a third of them use only one. One brand is listed. Many of them are two. I have not seen any toothpaste brand, any response that's more than 3 brands. Think about this. There are hundreds of brands of toothpaste on the market today. And no one yet that I've seen has listed more than 3, and the average is probably 2. So here's the point. You're in a market where there's hundreds of brands of real estate agents out there. And if you were to ask that homeowner, how many real estate agent brands can you think of? Go read the chat and you'll see how many they're thinking of. This is the big thing that came out of this book called Positioning, that the average consumer only remembers 2 or maybe 3 brands at the most. And if you're not one of those brands that they remember, you don't even get you don't even get thought of when it comes time for them to think about who to sell their home with. This is what positioning is positioning your name at the top of their list in their mind, so that when they think of selling their home, they think of you. If you're not one of those 1, 2, or 3 brands, you'll never get called. And in most cases, if you're not in the top 2, you'll never get called. And you wonder why it's so hard to get listings from a list, because you got to get your name up there. Yep. And most people think, I've got to tell you this story. I'll tell you in just a moment. one of these slides will prompt me. So let's talk about what gets sellers to respond, because this is all about how do they think of you as an agent they want to do business with. Okay. So all of those brands of toothpaste that everyone put out, by and large, they were the brands that you see on national TV. By and large, they're the brands that are advertising. But the way they advertise, you probably don't recognize it. They're using some of what I'm going to teach you here, but they're using a lot of other branding methodology that does not work for you. The methodology is if you just stay in front of them enough, people will buy you. That sort of works in real estate, but not really. So the thing that makes these sellers respond is this element called trust. Most people have a hard time defining what trust is. We looked into it, we started measuring it, looking at it, and concluded that trust is only in three components. Number one, do they trust that you're selling homes? Let me see if this makes sense. We would ask people as they signed up with us for geographic farming, we would ask them, have you ever done geographic farming before? Most of them said no. Some of them said yes. Then those who said yes, we would ask them a second question. Were you successful? Most said no. Some said yes. Then we asked them a third question. If they were successful, what did you do? 100%. Literally, every single one did one thing. If you remember nothing more from this training, remember this one thing. That one thing they did is they sent just sold postcards. In other words, what caused it to work for them, whatever it was in terms of however well it worked, was that those homeowners saw that they were always selling homes. So let me ask you this question. I want to just kind of pop in and out on the speaker view because I want you to see me on this. You have two agents. You're a homeowner. You have two agents that you know of. One of those agents, you're constantly getting just sold postcards. The other one, you're not. Which one are you going to sell your home with? It's the one that's constantly selling you just sold postcards.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna see the successes.
Yeah, you're going to see the successes, and it's top of your mind.
Mhm.
The same thing happens with your past clients and sphere of influence. If you don't keep marketing to them, showing them that you're constantly selling, they will go with another friend who is. Okay. So the first thing that these homeowners want to see and understand about trust is, can they trust you that you're always selling homes? It's not the assumption, it's the proof that you're always selling. There's another just sold postcard, or another, if you're on social media, another, hey, just sold another home. Okay. Anything like that. The second part of trust is, do they trust your expertise to get them more money? I remember we're working with a producer down near Miami, Florida. His name is Roman. We're targeting an area called Heron Bay, and it's about a 1,200 home community, if I recall correctly. Typical sales price is about $800,000. And it was all postcard marketing. I don't think he lived there, but we were targeting into there. And he calls me up, he's getting listings, and he calls me up and almost laughing. He said, Beatty, I got to tell you this story. I just got another listing and I've never had this happen before. I said, okay, well, tell me what happened. He said, so this lady is in Heron Bay. One of her good friends is a real estate agent who lives in Heron Bay. Her friend, the real estate agent, had listed her home. And then they both came to the conclusion I could do a better job than she could. So they gave me the listing. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of an agent giving up a listing to another agent, but that's what happened. And what happens is, if you can get them to believe your inside expertise, your expertise to get them the most money, then they will choose you over their best friend. Okay. The other part of trust is that they've met you and that they trust you personally. This is actually a very significant part. This level of trust is what most agents live on, because most agents, the good ones, the ones who've been around a long time, the primary source of their business is past clients and sphere of influence. And they've met them, they trust them, they stay in touch. Okay. And so you have all three of these ingredients. You're listening to the Get Sellers Calling You podcast. To increase sales from past clients and sphere of influence or from a geographic farm, learn about Agent Dominator. We guarantee your sales in writing or give your money back. To learn more, visit our website at getsellerscallingyou.com and select Agent Dominator from the menu. And now, back to the podcast. But I want to talk about trusting your expertise, because this is the one thing that most people fall short on, that they don't know how to overcome. And I was talking to this agent named Jason. He's a top producer with one of the brands, and his team, he's grown since then, but the team, he was a team owner, and his team that year, when I was talking to him, was closing in on, I think it's 1,500 transactions. So he's a big agent. And he was trying to target this group of 2,000 homes. And in the last 6 months, he'd only gotten 2 listings out of there, and he was concerned. So we got on the phone, and I said, after talking with him a little bit, I said, well, the big issue, Jason, is you're just not well branded. And I used the wrong word. And I realized then that most real estate agents don't understand the word branding, which is why I want to share this story with you and show you what's going on. He said, well, that can't be, because I'm well branded. I said, well, tell me what you mean. He said, I've been spending $10,000 a month for 2 years marketing to this area of 2,000 homes. Okay. He says, I'm on the radio. I'm on the billboards. I'm at the grocery store. I'm on the park benches. I do a 12-page newsletter 4 times a year. And I said, really? And how many listings did you get? He said, I got 2. And how many listings came on the market in this period of time? And he said, about 200. Okay. So I said, let me ask you, why did they not choose you? He said, I don't know. He said, would you like to know the answer? He said, yes. And it's this thing I'm about to show you. I started to explain to him this concept of outside perception versus inside reality. By the way, once I finished explaining it, his assistant was on the phone. I think her name is Pam. And I said, if your assistant was those homeowners that fit this description, how many of those listings do you think you would have gotten? And she piped up and said, all of them. In other words, if you get this right, you will theoretically get all of the listings in that marketplace where you're targeting. And it has to do with this outside perception versus inside reality. Here's what it means. The outside perception of these agents, of these homeowners, that all agents are the same. That's how they viewed Jason. That's how they view you. That's why the hard part is getting them to think of you above someone else when they think everyone's the same. Because they think they're the same. But they think that all you do is you list your home in the MLS, you stick a sign in the yard, and you wait for someone else to bring a buyer. Because of that, here's what they also believe. It doesn't matter who they choose to sell their home. If all agents are the same, then they're going to get the same price in the same amount of time with the same amount of effort with one agent as anyone else. So it really doesn't matter who they choose. So it's not a big deal. That's why they get a postcard. They say, well, I'll just call this agent, because they all do the same thing. As long as they believe that you're like everyone else, you will never hit maximum sales opportunities. If you want more listings in whatever list, GeoFarm, seller leads, past clients, sphere of influence, any niche that you're marketing in, as long as they think you're just like anyone else, you'll never make it big. We sold our home 4 years ago. I called in 3 agents. As the marketer, I wanted to see what real-time feedback. So I called in 3 of them. They're all strong producers. And I said, so I'm interviewing 3 agents. Why should I choose you over someone else? They had no answer. Well, you can trust me. Well, I would hope so. Well, I've been selling for many years. Well, I would hope so. I live in the neighborhood. So do all these other agents. Give me some reason why I should choose you over these other people. They couldn't do it. I mean, these guys, one of them was doing 15 or 20 million a year in production. They couldn't do it. And as a homeowner, I'm trying to decide which one should I choose. I can't tell. Let me ask you a question. Assume for a moment that those people you're wanting to get listings out of that list, assume that those homeowners all understood your skill, expertise, and experience to the same degree that you understand it about yourself. At that point, if they knew you as well as you know yourself, and if you have an admin assistant or anyone that helps you, if they know you as well as your admin knows you and your skill and expertise, is there any practical reality that they would choose anyone else besides you? And the answer is, I hope not. Okay. If you're good, they would choose you. And this is the key. If they understand your inside reality, they would choose you all the time. And so what happens is this, very simply, the distance between how many listings are possible and how many listings you actually get, the gap between that number has to do with their outside perception of you. The more they have their outside perception equal to your inside reality, the more lists of those listings you will get, because it pushes these other agents in their positioning down the totem pole and pushes you to the top to where they will go. I would be an absolute fool to choose anyone besides whoever you are. Okay. So that's the goal. The question is, how do you get there? And the way you get there is through education. I want to show you just the simplest form of doing this. And this is applying this trust factor to convert any type of leads to listings. Okay, any type of people that are about to come on the market to get them to call you. So this is what most people do. They send out a just sold postcard. And you all seen it. This is the way, actually, most agents don't do this, which means if you do it, you'll make money. But when they do it, this is how it looks like. So watch what happens. I'm a homeowner and I get this postcard. Someone pipe up, an agent out there. I just want to kind of role play some things with you and just ask some questions. He'll just kind of have a conversation with me on this.
Here, I'll do it.
All right, who's that?
Don Mitchell.
Mitchell. Okay.
Don. His name's Don. Yep.
Don. Oh, Don Mitchell. Okay. Okay. So Don, let me ask you a question. You're a homeowner. Put yourself in the homeowner's mindset only. Okay. You get this postcard from me. I'm Bill Smithson. What does it tell you about me?
You just sold a house on Aspen Cove.
Okay. That's it. Does it tell you if I'm a good agent or a bad agent or better than anyone else?
None.
Do you get any impression at all what quality an agent I am?
Not at all.
All right, so now let's suggest that you're thinking about selling your home in a month or two and you're trying to figure out who to choose. On a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being absolute, I want this agent, 0 being nowhere. Where would you place this card as prompting you to maybe want to choose Bill?
Honestly, I'd probably go on my file cabinet, the garbage can.
Okay, very good. So this is why most people, when they send out just so postcards, get very little great results. There's nothing here that I'm winning trust with Don. So now watch this. I'm going to add just a few words to this postcards. I did it again. Another one sold at the top of the market price. Now compare this card to the previous card without the messaging. If you were to put on an impact level of equal, double, triple, or anything like that, how much greater impact do these few words have on you in terms of making you go, wow?
A huge impact. I'm now thinking, I wonder what my home is worth.
Okay, right? What your home is worth. What else do you pull out of this? As you're thinking about Bill, and you're thinking about selling, what other type of impression does this make on you, if any? I'm not trying to put words in your mouth, just naturally what comes to mind as a homeowner.
Yeah, so he sold other homes in the neighborhood possibly, and he's selling them at a high price point.
Yeah. Does this encourage you to maybe want to give him a call when you're ready to sell?
Absolutely. I would call him.
How much more money did I spend to put those 10 or 12 words there?
Probably not
Nothing.
much. Yeah.
How long did it take me to think of, I did it again, another one sold at the top market price? Did that take a lot of time out of my schedule?
No, not at all.
No, but that could make the difference between getting a couple of sales or none. Do you see that?
I do.
Now we're going to add a few more words. You ready?
Yes.
This home had been on the market 180 days with another agent without selling. I listed it at the same price and sold it in only 5 days for full price. What's the impact that makes to you as a homeowner?
I want to call this guy.
Ah, is that a lot more effective than this one? It's the
Very
same sale. But what I'm doing is I'm giving an inside look at the inside reality of what I did with that sale. And by doing that, it's automatically shifting your impression of who I am and how good I am and moving me to the top of the list to where you've automatically said, I want him to sell my house.
Wow.
Every single one of you are selling homes that you have something, at the very least, you can say, another one sold at the top of the market price, because I don't care if that house had been on the market 5 times average days on market and sold for 50% average listed sales price ratio. It is an actual, accurate, honest statement. It sold at the top market price for that home in that condition in that location at that time. But the homeowner reads it and go, that's impressive. If you can tell a story, which is what this one does, it makes it even more impressive. Okay. So now give me a number if you can. Let's just assume on a scale of 1 to 5, 1 to 10. Let's just peg this one in the middle. We don't know if this is a 10. We don't know if it's a 3 because we don't have anything yet to fully compare it. But if this one is a 5, where would you place this one?
I would place that as a 5 too. I mean, if
Well,
we're saying that this is a 5,
this
on a scale from 1 to 5 or 1 to
yeah.
10?
1 to 5. So let's say this is, well, okay, let's just say 1 to 5 for right now. So this is a 5. On that scale of 1 to 5, where would this one be?
3.
And then where would this one be?
Like I said, in the trash can.
In the trash. All right, so this is at least 3 times more. And then I've doubled that again to this one. Can it get any better?
I'm sure it can.
All right, so let me show you one more card. This is the same sale, different design. So I'm going to read this to you because if you're thinking about selling your home, after 180 days with another agent without selling, Bill Smithson sold this home in 5 days for full price. Here's how, ... Let me stop right there. You're thinking about selling your home. Are you going to read the rest of it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Bill did it again. He sold this home at the top market price. How? He follows a proven 4-step process he created that consistently works. Number 1 is preparation. He helps coordinate handymen and painters to ensure your home is fully prepared to make a great first impression. Second is pricing. He knows the limit to push the listing price without exceeding the market. Properly priced homes always get top dollar. Third is presentation. 95% of buyers start their search online. He uses professional photos and videos in his online marketing to attract the best buyers' attention. And fourth is promotion. He aggressively markets your home using a proven 21-step marketing strategy that finds more buyers. More buyers means more offers and a higher sales price. Now, if you read that, honest opinion, and you come back to this one, which one is more persuasive? Which one are you more likely to respond to if you're only going to respond to one of them?
Well, if I'm in the market looking for an agent wanting to sell my home, I would read more and I would pick this one.
Okay. So if this is a 5 here, where would you rate this one? What, on a scale now 1 to 10? So this is a 5. Where would you rate this one?
I'd say you double it. I would be 9, 10.
Okay. So here's a couple points I want to make. The only thing we've done is we've educated the customer a little bit more, and a little bit more. The education is done through written words. Now, love your response. If you're thinking about selling, you would read it. Most agents will look at this and say, well, that's too much words. No one will read it. And I say, well, you're not the homeowner thinking about selling. You will read it if you are thinking about selling, right?
Absolutely.
And once you read it, what makes you think, what grabs you from this content versus this content that makes you rate this card a 10? What is it that causes you to be really impressed with Bill?
It's the words in red. Sold the home in 5 days for full price. It really sticks out. Another
Mhm.
one sold, and then a question as to, well, it's answering the question, because my question is, well, what did he do to sell it in 5 days? And then you're explaining it.
Bingo. This is, if we were to come back, what I'm doing is I'm showing you my expertise to get the most money. I don't just state it, but I explain it.
Mm-hmm.
And once you understand what I do, that is my inside reality. And now you start to have a glimpse of, I am different. When you get this postcard, now you start to put me at the top of your positioning list,
Mm-hmm.
because in your mind, I know what I'm doing. I've been able to validate it, show it to you, explain it, and no one else is doing that.
Mm-hmm.
Do you see how this starts to differentiate you?
Absolutely.
Can it get any better?
I'm sure it can.
I'm not sure if it's better, but I'm going to show you another way to make a similar point. If you think it's expensive hiring a professional, try hiring an amateur. Bill's homes get $6,000 more for a $300,000 home than the average amateur agent. Bill's homes sell 3.2 times faster than those sold by the average amateur agent. Does this make a point?
It does.
Does this start to give you more confidence to call Bill?
Absolutely.
All right. So now let's look at another thing. So what these are doing is these two cards here are quantifying, are doing the first two levels of trust. I trust that you're selling homes, and I trust you have the expertise to sell my home for more money, because I've proven it here. I'm showing you some inside reality. I give you quantifiable statistical measurements straight from the MLS that shows how I compare to the amateur agent that you are likely to choose. But then there's one more thing, and this is effective in a not met list, a list that they don't know you. It's not a past client, it's not a sphere of influence. And a not met list needs to know something about you personally for them to feel like they've got a chance to meet you. So now assume for a moment, Don, that you're in a neighborhood we've never met. You've been getting my postcards and you're impressed with it. And then you get this postcard, and here's something fun you probably don't know about Bill Smithson. It says Bill and his wife flew to travel. They loaded the kids in the car, drive all over the country, yada, yada, yada. But you get to see a picture of me and the family.
Mm-hmm.
What does this do to you when you see that picture? Anything?
Well, yeah, it tells you more about the person. He has a family. Maybe you relate to the person considering on hiring an agent. So
Yeah.
rapport there.
So here's what we find. We found this by accident. Much of my testing was on purpose, some of it by accident, and this was by accident. I'm on the phone with one of our agents. We've been mailing into a farm for him for 2 or 3 years. We're talking in October. You know, most homes sell in May, June, July, August. And at the end of October, his name is Zach, and he says, Beatty, can we mail that postcard you mailed back in January? I said, sure, but why? He said, well, it produced half of all the listings I got that year in the farm. So my eyes popped open, and I said, well, let me go look at it. The only difference with that postcard we sent, this is long before we perfected this model that you're seeing on screen now, but the only difference with the postcard in January versus everything else is that postcard had a family photo on it. And now you guys had a chance to meet him and his family and see that he's an actual normal guy. He has a real family. And what happens is, once someone can see you in your family setting, not in a professional business mode, then they start to trust you more, because they go, I can trust that guy. He looks trustworthy. Like the bald-headed guy there, he looks pretty trustworthy, wouldn't you say, Don?
That's right.
Yeah. Don's gone on mute. He doesn't want to say.
No, absolutely.
Beatty, just a 5 to 7 minute countdown here.
5 to 7 minutes. Okay. Well, y'all are going to have to go to my podcast at getsellerscallingyou.com and listen to more if you want all the other great answers. Let me fast forward a couple other things. Let me show you something else that you can do. So this is persuading people to choose you. We found a way to get sellers to identify themselves, okay? And to identify a seller, then you've now got a list that while Isaiah was talking about 1 to 5%, that's 20 to 1% to 20% of your list will likely do business. And that's where you want to drive your business. What we find is of those people who identify themselves, somewhere between 1/3 and 2/3 will actually go on the market. So now you get to narrow your focus down to the absolute most likely to sell. What we do is we use the address side of the postcard this way. We make a statement like, if you're thinking about selling your home in the next 6 months, read this immediately. And reading just the red text, knowing what it can sell for in today's market, learn what your home is worth, go to the website, okay? So that drives people to then want to at least scan the code and find out what their home is worth if they're thinking about selling. So when that happens, our system recognizes the code or the code that they scanned, because every single one of these QR codes and URLs is unique to the address we mail it to. So if we're sending out 100,000 postcards, we're sending out 100,000 of those URLs. And so our system matches that URL back to the homeowner, instantly recognizes who scanned it. They've never filled out a form, drop them on a website, and then email you a notification that they went there. And so now, as an agent, while they are visiting the site to see how much money their home could sell for, or whatever information you want to offer, then you can be actually starting to engage with them and follow up with them. The other thing, this is what you're going to learn from Isaiah the rest of today and tomorrow, is these multi-channel touches. What we find is when you add multi-channel touches, you increase the percentage conversion. It's what I call 1 + 1 = 3. And the multi-channel touches, you have to have emails and phone numbers. You can get all that through REN because they have some great database on matching all that. And then what happens is, this is what we do with our clients. This was what Isaiah recommends for all of you guys too, is do a postcard campaign, touch them, do a Facebook campaign targeting them, a drip email campaign, a video email, text message, live phone call. So now what's happening is all these touches are driving in, and it starts to incrementally ratchet up your conversion. Obviously, the most expensive part is your postcard. But as you can see, with just walking through with Don, those postcards become highly persuasive. Everything else helps support that. And it's the multiplicity of it all that drives the results. If you go back to the data analysis from the Millionaire Real Estate Agent, when they concluded this concept of 33 touches, the average 33 touches generated the number of sales that it generated, they made a really important comment. They were not all the same. They were a multitude of touches that kept touching them from different angles. And that's what this whole multi-channel approach is all about. If you've enjoyed this podcast, be sure to subscribe to it so you never miss another episode. And please like our Get Sellers Calling You Facebook page. Also, if you want to increase sales from past clients and sphere of influence, dominate a geographic farm, or convert home valuation leads, check out our Agent Dominator program. We create custom content that differentiates you from other realtors, then use it to keep you top of mind with your prospects with postcards, targeted Facebook ads, email campaigns, video interviews, and more. And the best part is we guarantee your sales or give all your money back. Learn more at getsellerscallingyou.com and select Agent Dominator in the menu. Thanks for listening to the Get Sellers Calling You podcast. Have a great day.